think this rally in stocks is more about the UK. We're waiting on the Prime Minister of the UK, Liz Truss, to come out and make a statement. She's probably going to talk about the economic package. We don't know if she's actually going to step down, but we definitely are waiting on that. And that, I think, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sky News is reporting that she is going to resign.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So we don't know what she's going to say, but she's going to make a statement. And I think this is why this market is rallying, because, of course, it cratered on her tax cut plan that she announced just a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see what Liz Truss has to say when she comes out to the podium. But this Philly Fed number, Tiana, is indicating this sharp slowdown in manufacturing.
Yeah, I'd also just like to point out that, you know, the pound is rallying against the dollar, which we haven't seen in some time. So that probably would indicate that these numbers are responding to the England news.
Yeah.
You know, the Fed just keeps on getting all these green lights stateside, right? You see mortgage rates going higher, but housing prices remaining pretty much the same. These jobless claims are not hitting what experts or keep on expecting. I think the way the Fed sees it, this is a continual green light. You know, they were working opposite what Congress and the White House are doing. You know, we still have real negative interest rates. Right now, their projection is close to 5% interest rates throughout next year. But I think we'll go past 5 if things continue like this, right? If we can't even crack 250.
Yeah, we want to get your take, Leo and Steve. We'll take a short break and come right back with the breaking news out of the UK and the analysis on the Philly Fed number. Stay with us.
Instability. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent. And our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. We delivered on energy bills and on cutting national insurance. And we set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This morning I met the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady. We've agreed that there will be a leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans and maintain our country's economic stability and national security. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.
Blockbuster news right here from Liz Truss, the Prime Minister of the UK, resigning her position as her economic plans were criticized. Your thoughts, Steve?
I think
Moore?
the UK is a disaster,
Yeah.
total disaster. I mean, they're talking about massive increases in taxes and their corporate rate and so on. There's no growth. The reason that the UK is facing this high inflation, they're now at 10% inflation in the UK, is because of what I talked about earlier, out of control government spending. And there's nobody in Britain doing anything about that. So I think this is a tragic consequence. I think
so too.
Yes.
I think so too. Why was she so criticized for her economic plan then, Steve? I mean, markets traded down on the plan.
She was also undone by the Bank of England, which basically objected to everything that she was trying to do. But look, you can't have a high-growth economy with rising taxes. They're going to raise their corporate tax rate. They're raising their personal income tax rates. I just think it's a tragic situation, and that's what's happening in all of Europe right now, frankly.
If I can just defend the Bank of England here, look, I do think the independence of their central bank is just as important as ours is, right? But also, let's just remember that this was not true before the pandemic, but now both the U.S. and the UK have a higher debt to GDP ratio than the rest of the Eurozone. The difference being that investors just clearly didn't have a lot of confidence in the UK's ability to fulfill those pensions. And one of the issues is that there's optimal tax cuts and there are suboptimal tax cuts. And unfortunately, you know, the government of the UK, just like our government, the government itself has to tighten to match fiscal strategy with monetary strategy. Kwasi Kwarteng did not do her any favors by announcing a mini budget without getting it scored, right? Their equivalent of the CBO said that they could score it, but instead he just went ahead and launched it. So she was not done any favors by that. And worst of all, you know, Tories have been in power for what, 13 years?
Yeah.
There has not been enough. Sometimes you do need to clean out the bench, and sometimes you do need to just start from scratch. They've gotten lazy, right? They thought that Boris Johnson was the problem. They thought they could just get Johnsonism without Johnson. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen.
She was under pressure to resign, obviously.
Right.
She should
approval
not have done it.
ratings.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting watching the futures here, and 3 minutes don't make a market. But when the Philly Fed came out and the unemployment numbers came out, the market started to rally.
Yeah.
And that was the old bad news is good. Maybe that will signal to the Fed that this is going in the wrong direction, and we reverse course here. And I think everybody expected that this announcement might help the markets.
Yeah.
I think what the market is starting to understand, this is getting out of the hands of these politicians.
Yep.
And this is spending other people's money in an extreme, and they're starting to lose a little bit of control. And the markets are pushing back, saying, no, we're in control of this.
Yeah.
And you have to start acting responsibly.
Well, I agree. The markets are reacting to this and well off of the highs. Again, the news of the morning breaking just a moment ago. Liz Truss, the Prime Minister of the UK, has announced she will resign her position, despite getting a mandate to get back to growth in the UK. Joining us right now to talk more about